yeah, what I'm really interested in is, yeah, sort of your journey with your kicking, because we work with all ages and all different, varieties of talents as well, like from kids that are just learning to boys and girls that want to make the top level. And then I work with a lot of AFLW players as well that just need to hone their skills with their kicking. So just really interested in your journey, because I see improvements, and I know you've worked hard with it. We're just interested to see what your sort of what you've done with Sav Rocker and what you've done recently and things like that.
I guess one of the biggest ones for me was I didn't start playing footy till I was 16.
So,
I was a young kid. I loved playing any sort of sport. So I'd done a little bit of Auskick when I was younger. And then bits and pieces of school footy, and obviously kicking the footy at lunchtime. That was sort of my experience as a kid. And then actually started playing club footy at 16. So I played soccer, which probably is what the biggest influence on, especially my kick early days, was I kicked across my body a lot. Just soccer. So I don't know. I did a lot of work with, when I was at my TAC Cup club, our regional manager was Darren Flanagan. I did a heap of work with him with like tennis balls, so just using the tennis ball just to be able to actually grip it. And then I was lucky that Mum and Dad had a business not far from training, so I'd go down at like 4 o'clock, get the bin of footies out, and I'd have 100 shots before training. And so when I got picked up as a 19-year-old, I'd spent that year. That was my first year playing forward, but I actually kicked 41, 14. So maybe it was because I was just bigger and I could mark it in the goal square. So it was a bit harder to miss. But I was pretty accurate in under 18s. And then, it was probably once I got into the system that I was having a lot of issues. And it was from early on, even first pre-season, I was having a lot of issues with it. And then you just get a lot of information from everywhere, everyone trying to put their two bobs in. So I did lots of different pieces over my first few years, like from holding the ball really low to holding it higher to a lot of momentum in my run up, and then to having a big arc in my run up. And the best thing that happened was under Mick Malthouse, he pretty much got Sav in just for me, which is
good.
The boys were pretty quick to get into me about, but like, he was obviously good for everyone. Like his expertise was good for everyone, but I probably got the most out of him. But also because I wanted to get the most out of him.
That's right.
But from that point of view, I think it was the understanding that he brought. I feel like everybody in my initial couple of years in the system they were all trying to change my technique, fix it, and I've got a high ball drop, and so trying to lower my ball drop, or my leg swing coming across my body, so trying to arc, so that to allow for that and all those sorts of things. And Sav came along and we did a lot of work on, like, without kicking at goals. So we just been on the square line, and just that was to try and get my body going, my leg going straight, and everything finishing straight. So it was just he would stand at the other end 50 metres away. I'd do my routine onto the edge of the square and then try and just finish straight. So
anyone
leg straight.
On your mark there?
No.
Just going through.
It was more, and that was just all about trying to straighten my leg up.
Good.
But then, so once we sort of had done a lot of that, it was more just working with what I had. So yes, I had a high ball drop. Am I going to be able to bring that down to where everyone else kicks from, or where a good standard is to kick from? Probably not. Like I'm at that stage, I'm 23, 24. But can we bring it down a little? Can we bring it down a little bit? So let's like concentrate on, I guess, putting that in as a trigger, like at the top of my run up. So thinking about my ball drop and it being low.
Yeah.
In my run up, I tend to move the ball from side to side.
Yeah.
So which was one of the big factors on when I connect, like early days when I connected, like I could roost at 70.
Yeah.
But when I missed bad because the ball was moving. I had a high ball drop. My leg was coming across.
Few margins for error.
There was just a lot of things that could go wrong, and when they did, it was bad. So it was more just about minimising all these things. So we're not going to keep the ball still, but can we minimise that movement? We're not going to be able to bring the ball down really low, but can we just lower it a little bit? And then along with straightening everything up, so that when all those things, if one or two of those things went wrong, hopefully my momentum forward and everything being straight actually saved those things.
Yeah. That's what I talk to kids about that a lot as well. Like if you get your momentum sorted, you don't necessarily have to have the perfect drop and the perfect contact all the time, because it's just not going to happen. So I agree. Yeah, that momentum is really, really important. That's very interesting. I like the way Sab sort of took the goals out of it early and just got you into some simple habits and didn't overload you with a heap of information. Would you say that's what happened early on, that you just, because you had so many people coming in, that you just got a bit overloaded and your mind was just
absolutely. Like I was just a young kid who was eager to, I guess, impress and learn, and I just, every time someone said something, I'd take it on board and try and implement it.
And I guess that's a hard thing at your level, because there's so many respected people and so many good coaches, and
absolutely.
You sort of just need one voice with kicking, don't you? Like, just who is that voice? And Mick Malthouse did that for you. That's awesome.
Because I still keep in contact with Sav now. Even after last weekend, I kicked 4 goals for, and to be honest, the 4 I kicked, I think one of those. Against Collingwood. Only one of those 4 that I kicked actually felt comfortable out of the hand. Like I didn't feel good on the day, and I was probably lucky to get away with kicking 4. But also I messaged him yesterday. Last week. Got some footage of those shots, and then just sent that through to him, and he sort of had a look, and just sent through back a few pointers. And that's sort of been the case since he's finished up at Carlton.
How good.
I still kept in contact with him. When we're in Melbourne, I'd catch up and either have a coffee and we'd talk him through, or he was also happy just to meet at a local park and we'd have a few shots.
Sav was one of my heroes, like watching him as a kid. Like just watching him and Anthony, kick those bombs outside 50. But Sav still had his challenges probably closer into goal. I don't know the statistics on it, but as a person watching, it felt like he was a little bit more comfortable from deeper out. Which a lot of us are, like, because I suppose it's a bit of a mental thing, right? You're not expected to kick it, and you just go through a fluid motion. Oh no, do you think COVID has had an impact with probably the coaching crew isn't as large as what it used to, so these specialty coaches aren't around as much, or are they starting to come back now? Like in Savs?
Well, Sav was one of the cuts that they made at the start of COVID. So I think like sort of part-time specialist coaches like that, the ruck coach, if they were part-time, they kind of got taken out. But we're probably lucky. We've got Stephen King as our midfield coach, so he kind of doubles as ruck and midfield. We don't have any more part-timers, I don't think so. I think COVID's definitely had an effect on that.
It has,
because they would be people that they just come in for your main training sessions.
That's right.
They could be there game day, and they're just dedicated to whatever their particular skill set is, whether it be ruck or whether it be goal kicking or. I think at one stage we had Diesel Williams down there. He was just sort of specialist handballing hands, just that sort of touch drills. So I think that's definitely provided challenges, and I think that's probably where you find the better players rise to the top, because they're a lot more driven, and they outsource, or they find ways to do it themselves.
Yeah, like that's I looked at like Scott Pendlebury and Taylor Adams. They've outsourced the speed project in Melbourne, and they just worked on their league speed, like a more of an athletics type speed program. And yeah, you look at these guys, and I think they're getting it from, you look over in America in the NBA, in their off season, they group together from different clubs, and they'll get a specialist coach in and just work on whatever craft they need. So I think there's a big space for it in the AFL industry, where why don't you join up with some Brisbane Lions players, or go back to Melbourne with some Carlton mates, and, you know, get a little group going and work on things with a specialist like Sav or someone like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all athletes trying to get better, and
that's right.
You can always learn stuff from different people.
And, I guess
you still cross the white line and you're enemies again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had a bit of a similar experience this year. Like Craig Starcevich got me down for the Lions girls, just as a kicking sort of coach. And it really, number one, it generated a lot of interest in the skill of kicking. So it got the girls talking, it got the other coaches talking, and it made it a bit of a focus. Like, how can we, you know, make them better and help them improve? So I guess the biggest challenge is what you were talking about before, is because it generated a lot of interest. Then a lot of people start chiming in on the skill, and then they may get mixed messages every now and then. So I think that's the beauty of having one person like Sav. And if the coach, you know, like Mick Moldhouse trusts in them, they're giving you those same teaching cues and those same methods all the time. So I reckon that's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be definitely something I would preach to someone, is have your one person that you take advice from, and and you go from there.
Yeah, and do you, like, because we're big on the one-on-one training, do you believe that is, you know, it has a really big impact, that one-on-one coaching, you know, just has that difference, that point of difference that really helps you?
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon, because you go to training and you have like 40 other people, and then so your time's split, whereas I would, so I'd go out on the track early and we'd sort of do some drills to warm up. Like we'd start off just on the point of the goal square and just no step kicks at the goal post.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then that would extend into a couple of steps into it. And then that would extend into your routine, still just going at the point at the goal post.
Yeah.
And then by the time training starts, you might have had half a dozen shots at goal. And then after training, then I would have another like 30 odd shots. And then so, because it was by the time training finishes and guys do their extras, and then it ends up, it's probably myself and Sav and occasionally like one other person out there. So you get the feedback straight away. Like you'd often bring the iPad out and he'd film me. So you kick a good one, you'd look at what you're doing and how it looks. You kick a bad one and you'd look at it straight away. But just to be able to get that instant feedback and then go and have another one.
Awesome. And I guess that's how our business has sort of grown from doing that. Like we get really good feedback, and it's great to hear that, you know, the best like Sav Rocker are doing it and making an impact at the top level, because it does video feedback. It's instant and it's just brilliant, and you see huge success from it. So Sav's gone up in my books even more.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's something, it's easy enough to say this is what you're doing and this is how it looks and this is what you need to do. But until you actually see it, sometimes it's hard to actually implement it and know what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah. I guess one that I reckon, like, I've had guys your age and females of all different ages, but their first question to me is it possible to make improvements when I've been in a habit for 20-something years? Like, can I see improvement in my kicking? Can I change? Do you think that's possible? Like, I personally do, but
absolutely. Yeah. Like it's not easy and it takes time. Like you change something and it might feel good and you kick well, but you go through ebbs and flows of how that actually is. But it just takes repetition. That's the one thing I've said to most people that ask me. It's like, it wasn't an easy fix. Like it was, I had Sav in my corner, which helped. And we developed a good relationship and a good understanding of what worked for me. But then it was just repetition and man hours of
muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd have, like we train, say you train 3 times a week. So I might average like 30 or 40 shots a session. And then I had a bag of footies at home. So on my day off, I'd go down the park and I'd make sure I had another sort of like 30, 40, 50 kicks. And then your captain's run as well. Like I'd be the last one in from captain's run just because I'd just be having shot after shot of goal and wanting to go into the game like feeling good. And
feeling good,
sometimes Sav was good with that because if you're not kicking well, he's like, there's no point continuing. Like, if it's not fixing, there's no point continuing to kick bad. And
sometimes,
and he was a big believer in, especially like windy days. He was a big believer in kicking lots when it's windy, because it actually makes you concentrate on your ball drop and what's going on more. And then say the next day you're playing at Etihad with no wind and your ball drop spot on.
That's pretty cool. The big one, like that I hope, like if I can show some of this, I'll send it to you anyway. But I hope people hear that, because when you read stuff about you, that you have been a little bit maligned with your kicking, and people think that you're not training hard enough, or you're not putting in the hours, and they've got no idea what goes on behind the scenes. Like, and the amount of hours you guys put in and the amount of effort, like, I don't think your everyday Joe Blow, they don't understand. And like, for someone like me, like, I just appreciate you guys, how hard you go at it and the amount of effort you put in. And you might only see a 5 to 10% improvement in your kicking, but that's worth a lot, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of footy, you're looking for 1 or 2% gains. So like any gain is a win. And it's something that, I know I'm not the most technically sound kick in the league, but I know what works. Did you hear that? Did you?
I agree. He's all right. No, my wife thinks you're all right.
But I know what works for me, and I know that if I'm kicking lots, that's always been something that I like. I like kicking lots. I know that the more shots I have, the better. And that sort of feedback, that I know how the ball feels in my hands. I sort of, like, I've worded our forwards coach now, Brad Miller, I've sort of worded him up on.
I used to play with Brad.
Like. Did you?
Yeah. We played under 18, under 16 sort of state footy together. Tell him I said hello. He's a good man.
Yeah, will do. No worries. I'll pass that on.
Yeah,
he laughed. But so I've worded him up about what it looks like for me when I'm kicking well, and what are my cues.
Awesome.
When I miss, on what's going wrong. And I mean, as you said before about the specialist coaches and that having an effect, he's obviously got his time spread over.
That's right.
15 odd players. But, if he notices things, then he sort of shouts it out, and it's just sort of a trigger for me to, all right, the top of my mark, I can go up, all right, got to keep the ball still, try and keep the ball still, keep the ball low, momentum through. And off we go.
Yeah. Funny story about Brad. I remember, he might remember, but we were playing in like a state league comp, but we were under 16s, like we were playing in the reserve comp as like a Queensland team, just to get us used to big bodies. And I've whacked some dude in a stoppage, and this dude come running after me, and I got a bit scared. I was 16, and Brad Miller came over, because he was quite built like he is now, same sort of size, and he came over, and thank God he came in and protected me, because I had no chance to get against that bloke. I'll never forget it. What else did I have? So, do you want to, when I looked at your kicking against Collingwood, and you tell me, can I show you something?
Yeah.
And like, you can say your cues, and then, can I show you what I sort of see?
Yeah.
And then you tell me wrong, right, or whatever.
No, go for
it. Desktop. So tell me if you see this. So can you see that?
Yeah.
So see how the ball, see where the laces are pointing? Is that in your routine?
Nah, not usually. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah. So
is that a screenshot or is that?
Yeah. So like you actually roll it back out. So if I go, so you can see that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So see how you roll it in there?
Yeah.
And then then you roll it out like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've looked at heaps of photos. I don't have the footage you would have of your kicking. But I reckon that rolling in and then out, I reckon that's another one that could potentially create a small margin of more consistency, I reckon. But what do you reckon?
No, absolutely. I actually hadn't noticed. I did know Mitch McGovern always used to say I would move my left hand.
Yep.
My run up.
Yeah. And see your thumb.
But he always reckoned I kicked better when I moved it.
And that's right. And that's what I'm saying, because what I've learned over my journey is that like there's no right or wrong. There's no like everyone does something a little bit different, don't they? And to get success. So we can't all model Tony Lockett kick. We'd like to, but there's going to be some differences. So that was one I noticed. And see your thumb position of your left hand?
Yeah, a long way over the ball. Hey?
Long way over the ball. And I just reckon that little roll could create something. I'll show you.
I agree.
Yeah. And then here's some like old ones. And see how the laces are pointing out towards the camera there?
Yeah.
And that's pretty, when I looked at all your images I just did a quick search on Getty and that, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Like even back, see in your Carlton days, see there where you're rolling that ball?
Yeah.
And then it rolls out.
Yeah.
Nice mo there too, you've still got it.
Yeah, I know. Geez, there's a big trip down memory lane, isn't it?
Isn't it? And then, so I that's what I noticed. And then the only other thing, and I'm sure you've had this before, is, can you see yourself there? Probably not. Is it?
Yeah, no, I can see it.
What did Sav say about your balance arm? Because some people say that it doesn't have a huge effect. You know, putting it here or there.
It wasn't really something that we focused on.
Yeah. Because but my sort of thing is, if it's here, you're sort of counterbalance. Your body's going like it's sort of taking you back.
Yeah.
And whereas here, you've got your shoulder back, chest forward, and then you can, get that little bit of upper body power through it.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to see if Sav went through anything with that balance arm.
Nah, not really. But that was one of the points last week that he came back with, was trying to get my body a bit more forward over the ball.
Yeah.
So I guess the way my arm comes back could be dragging me back a little bit.
That's what I was thinking, because I just had a look at one of your set shots against Collingwood, and that's, and again, you don't want to overthink it, but I was interested to see. So that's awesome that he's picked out that.
Yeah, no, as I said, he's pretty good. He has done little bits and pieces of coaching, but like specialist hockey with a few kids and stuff coming through. And I remember when the women's comp first started up, it was something that he thought was an area that people could get into, like that specialist like kicking coaching, because you can already see like the ones who have come through now doing Auskick and who actually have been taught to kick from a young age. Like they're actually good kicks.
That's right. And it's just, again, it's that repetition, muscle memory. Like before, we had some girls playing in that first year where it was their second, third year of footy, So we're just, I had Ruby Spark the other day and I asked her, how many games of footy have you actually played? And I think she said 40 in total. And I'm like, you've got so much learning and, habits and repetition to get through. So they work hard like you do. I had Amy McDonald from Geelong come up a couple of weeks ago. And she spent the whole weekend with me and we did about 10 hours of, contact time. And that made a huge difference because we got that 10 hours. But now it's, as now it's up to her and her coaches to keep going with it. And hopefully the messaging is a bit simple, simple and the same. And she'll see benefits, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it's something you'll get into after footy.
No.
What do you do apart from footy? Have you?
I've got 3 kids that keep me pretty busy. I've done bits and pieces over time. I've sort of got into a bit of construction management sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, cool.
And then, like, I'm interested in the fitness industry, and but in what capacity, I don't really know.
Focus on footy now and worry about that later, right?
Yeah. And then just, I think the lifestyle we live, my wife and I are very health conscious, and the idea of like a health food store, or like a green grocer. We live near a few good ones in our time, and when we go somewhere that doesn't have one, it's always like, oh, that'd go well here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
whether it would or not.
Oh, there's something for the future for the Gold Coast, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. Somewhere near the beach, anyway.
Yeah, bloody oath. Hey, mate, last one, because I know you're probably putting your kids to bed. But what do you think? Yeah, mine are sort of in there with a dog. They're just in the bed. But anyway, with the mental side of kicking, did Sav work on that at all, or is that something that you've read into, and how did you sort of implement that into sessions? Because it's a huge part.
Yeah, I've done bits and pieces over the time. I think before Sav came along, Mick actually sent me off to like a psychologist to kind of work through it. But I think, I didn't, even when I was kicking bad, it wasn't, I didn't think negatively about it. I never then didn't want the ball in my hands. I still wanted the next shot as a chance to kick it, to improve, to get better. So it wasn't like missing and not kicking well was putting me in a bad headspace. So in terms of talking to a psychologist about it, I didn't find overly helpful. But then sort of when I was a bit older and sitting down with someone for other things, but actually coming back to goal kicking, more just having clarity on everything. So knowing my routine, and just being able to revert back to that, getting to the top of my mark. I'll take a deep breath, and then I'll just repeat my 3 triggers that I've got, and then just go into, and then I'm able to go into my routine. And I feel like that, and that's the same. So I try and make every shot the same. Like every time I'm at training, I never change my routine. I do the same thing every time, so that when I get to a game, it's the same thing every time. So that I think the first shot I had against Collingwood, there was grippo all over the ball, and I hate grippo. Like I have enough trouble with my ball drop without having all this sticky stuff on my hand that's going to affect it. But it was like, I don't know if whoever marked it had marked it on their chest, and it had gone all over the ball. So like when I had the ball in my hands and about to walk back to my mark, when I had this grippo all over my hand, I was like, oh, far out. And then get to the top of your mark, sort of clean the ball off a bit, get to the top of your mark, and then just reset. Go and do it all. And
no, it's a really good message for kids. Like, we work with lots of kids, and that's sort of my messaging is we need to find a routine that works for you. And then we need to just repeat it and get your confidence at training, because that'll then transfer into the game. So I think that'll really help a lot of kids, that hopefully I can show them that message, because I reckon that's gold. But you definitely, you look like you mark. You look like you got gripper on the way you're marking it. My God, you're in good form there, mate. I tell you.
I'll tell you what. I've never worn grippo my whole career until a couple of weeks ago against Brisbane. It was pretty dewy. Half time, I felt like I'd got my hands to heaps, but it was just too wet to mark it. I was like, I may as well just give it a go. So I put them on at half time, and then ended up clunked a few in the second half. So maybe I'll save it for a Queensland thing.
It is. It's always dewy at the Gabba and the Metricon, isn't it? Yeah. But no, mate, I always have loved watching you play. Like, your marking ability, and I just knew your attitude towards footy was someone we wanted to talk to, because I just think kids, adults, I reckon, it shows that we can improve, and we're not just, we're not just stuck. We want to try to keep having that growth mindset and keep moving forward, which is exactly what you've done. So
absolutely. That's how you've got to move forward. I'm 32 now, and if I thought that I didn't have anything to learn, then
you'd give it up, wouldn't you?
I would kidding myself. So that's why I'm still playing. I love playing footy, and I'm not a finished product, I feel like. So keep going.
No, you're a legend, mate. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for giving us some time, mate. And
no worries.
Yeah, we'll hopefully talk soon and hopefully come up one day for a kick up the sunny coast, eh?
Yeah, no worries. Any excuse to get up further north.
Yeah, that'd be good, mate. All right, mate.
No worries.
Cheers.
Thanks.